Introverts have this incredible social ability to pick and choose when they have deep, meaningful connections. I've been teaching men's dating and lifestyle development for a long time, and something that I've always ran into with clients who are introverted is they believe that for some reason social skills are more difficult for them because of the way that they see the world. They think because I'm not this extroverted person who can just be social all the time when I want, attracting women, being social, being charismatic, creating connection is going to be a bit more difficult for me, and my journey is in some way going to be harder. Now, maybe it is more difficult in the sense that the entry point for you feeling comfortable socially may be a little bit more difficult than the average person or someone who is a little more extroverted naturally, who leans towards that side. But at the same time, you being introverted is not actually a weakness, and I want you to understand that. And in this training, I'm going to break down for you how you as an introvert can actually tap into the best version of you, into your deepest, truest self, and communicate very, very authentically and start attracting women on your terms, even as an introvert, so that the label of being introverted will not hold you down. Now, the first thing that we have to do together, if we're going to move past this idea of introverted is bad or being introverted is more difficult socially, is we have to let go of the label of introversion. Because what a lot of people do is they say, because I'm an introvert, this must be true about me, meaning I must be hesitating a little more when I'm socializing. I must be a bit more in my head. I must struggle to make deeper connections quicker. One thing that's interesting is I'm an extrovert. Many of the clients I've worked with are naturally introverts. They're guys who stay inside their head a lot. They're working. A lot of times my clients work in tech or maybe to some extent in finance, depending on what they do. And they're in their head, they're working a lot, they have their head down, and they're focused on what's in front of them, and then they want to go out and socialize, want to go out and meet women, want to go out and create good dating situations, and they're like, boom, I'm going from being on the laptop to now trying to be social. How do I make that shift? And as an extrovert, something that I've noticed in my own dating life is I've found that when I purposely went into a deeply relaxed space in my own dating life where I tried to not be as social, I actually had better results. And my clients who have done the best, the guys who have gotten the best results out of everyone I work with over time, a lot of those guys are introverted. And the reason why they're introverted and they get those results is because the focus is not, let me not be an introvert and let me become more extroverted so I can be more social. Instead, the focus is, let me pick my spots of when I socialize, and when I create connection, let's make it as deep and powerful as possible. What I found as an extrovert and someone who's also worked with other extroverts is that we almost have to rein in our extroversion because it can be too much. So what happens is we'll just give socially and distribute all this social energy all around, but the level of connection, the level of depth, the level of investment from other people is a bit lower. So we don't want that to happen. And you as an introvert, you are much closer to creating deep, meaningful connection than an extrovert might be, who's just talking to everybody, making plans that are a bit loose and maybe not going as deep. So you have this incredible superpower. And I want to tell you this, the basic secret to attracting women as an introvert is not to become the social guy. That's not the goal, to be the most social guy in the room. It's to have more impact when you do choose to have conversations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 4 ways that you can begin to attract women on your terms, attract women naturally without you needing to go and try all this effort and put yourself out there as this extrovert and try to become someone different. How you can attract women without needing to be the social guy all the time, because the goal isn't to be an extrovert. It's to stay as an introvert if that's where your sweet spot is, but learn how to operate within that sweet spot. So here's number one. Number one is learn about your own personal social flow. So I'm going to give you something that I give to my clients when I'm teaching live programs. And by live programs, I mean I work with clients and I bring them out to nightclubs, bars, or even during the day, and we go out and socialize with women. We talk to some attractive women and I observe their interactions. I join them in their interactions. I listen in and I give them feedback on how they can correct how they interact with women, how they can set up dates in real time, and I accelerate their journey when it comes to how they attract women. So that's what I do. That's part of the work that I do. So when I'm on these programs and I'm training, I'll always look for a client's blueprint. So what is the way that they interact with the world that feels most comfortable to them? Now, the goal is not to stay in your comfort zone. The goal is to expand, but at the same time, staying true to who you are. So if you're an introvert, let's say naturally, even though we don't love the label, but let's say if generally you interact with the world more from a place of being a little more reserved, you're not the guy who's going to go to a party and say hi to half the people there. You may have 2 or 3 deep conversations. How can we take those conversations and channel them in a way where, one, a lot of those conversations happen with attractive women? That's number one. And then number 2, how do we channel those conversations so that you're more attractive when you're delivering that information, when you're having those conversations with women, with people? Now, one thing that we need to do is learn about our personal social flow. So like I was saying, when I work with guys in person, we always start off looking for a blueprint. How does this guy interact with the world in a way that makes him feel comfortable? For some guys, that's being extremely vulnerable and being honest about how they're feeling in the moment. This actually just happened this past Saturday. I was out with a client. We have a long-term contract together, working together here in Budapest, and he's had some amazing success. Been on a bunch of dates. He's slept with a few girls. We took girls home from the club. He's doing really good, but he had this night where he kind of crashed, and he's a natural introvert. He kind of stays in his head. He's very successful, but he's focused mostly on business, and then he puts time for dating when he decides to make that time. And one of the things that happened is we're having this night. It's a bit rough for him. And I paused and I said, what I want you to do right now, his name is Alex. I said, Alex, what I want you to do is I want you to stop trying to feel good about being a social guy, because you're creating a label for yourself where you have to be this social extrovert and that's who you are. He's going to get there over time because he wants that. He wants to be a bit more extroverted, and I totally respect that because he wants it. But what he had to do in order to break through on this night, and he ended up setting up 2 really deep, solid dates and almost ended up taking a girl home by the end of the night. And it was really rough for him at the beginning. But what happened, the change that we made was he started expressing just how he felt in the moment and owning that feeling. So instead of him trying to be the guy who brings the good emotions, his social flow was, hey, what's up? I feel super weird tonight and a lot of women are rejecting me and I fucking hate it. Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you. And then after he fully became congruent with this and owned it and became aligned with it, women started being attracted to him and he started having amazing interactions because he wasn't trying to be something he wasn't. So the first step, if you're an introvert, it's learn about your own social flow. What space do you need to get into where you feel normal and you feel okay being expressive? For some guys, it's being a little more assertive and being a bit more of a dick, kind of maybe acting a little bit and just putting yourself out there. Even if you don't feel great, you still just say, what's up? I like you. Just like that. Some guys do that. Other guys, it's having deeper, meaningful conversations about topics that might feel boring, but you're still putting yourself out there. So how do you get into a social flow where you feel I can express and I can talk to people from a place of authenticity? Find your social flow and express from that place. Principle number 2, here's the second strategy that you can use as an introvert to begin to attract more women. Leverage curiosity to make conversations mean more. Don't take them for granted. And by the way, this was really instrumental for me as an extrovert, because what I learned is, although I have this amazing extroverted energy, when I don't kind of tether it and I don't control that energy, what happens is I interact almost with too many women in a loose, casual way, and the interactions are super fun. There's a lot of laughs, there's a lot of good time, but the girls don't take me as seriously as I want them to. So what I started doing, and I learned how to do this early on in my journey, maybe around 2017, 2016 even, what I would start doing is slowing everything down in my interactions and making each conversation mean more. And I got better at this as I started seeing more girls. So I started having deeper conversations with women in the club, conversations about their fears, conversations about their deepest desires, conversations about what they were looking for dating-wise, about my own journey with dating and success with women and life overall and business and my hopes, my dreams. I started having these kind of conversations, and the way women responded, they opened up massively. And my interactions changed from being, let me be the fun social guy, to actually become curious about this woman who's in front of me and have more meaning. So what you can do as an introvert, this will really help you. And this is a powerful tool that you can keep in your toolbox to start interacting with women and just literally attracting them to you almost effortlessly. And what it looks like is this. Instead of trying to have conversations that feel more fun and that feel more exciting, where you're like, I'm having a great fun night, let go of chasing the fun conversations only and instead try to add depth into the conversations. This means asking her about who she is as a woman, asking her about her perspective, and talking about your perspective, becoming the man who educates. We call this the authority frame, and it's something we teach in our consulting program. How can you be the guy who's giving information to her and telling her, hey girl, this is how the world works. Let me share from you from who I am as a man. When you do this as an introvert, you build a deep level of connection. Now, of course, this depends on how attractive you are. It depends on how assertive you're able to be in a conversation. It depends on how much of a high value communicator you are. That's not about being introverted or extroverted. These are all principles that you have to master and learn, things we teach in our consulting program, but things that you can also learn, of course, with practice and lots of time on your own by putting yourself out there. Number 3, the third principle that's going to help you be more attractive and attract more women as an introverted man is become a storyteller. This will amplify your impact. So leveraging curiosity brings so much more value and depth in your conversations and makes women drawn to you, but you'll be more impactful if you can tell stories, which means people will be like, who the fuck is this guy? So one of the things that I love doing and I learned how to do is talk about, tell stories and share with women information about who I am as a man and my perspective in life. So let's say I talk about my journey in business. Instead of me saying, yeah, I run a 6-figure business. Instead of me saying that, I'll tell her the story of how I was broke, left my parents' house, didn't know shit about the world, about how the world works, and I just had this passion, which was understanding psychology and dating, and I studied that in university, and I took that, and I built a business out of it. But I'll tell her the entire journey. It doesn't even need to take a long time, but I'll tell her where I started, the journey I went through, the pain I experienced, some of the setbacks I had, and then where I got to now and what that means about me as an individual. And because I shared that with her, because I shared that perspective with her, it makes her more likely to invest in me. It impacts her way more emotionally than if I would just tell information about my life, talk about where I traveled. But if I tell a story and channel things through a story, it gives her insights into who I am as a man, who I am as an individual. So speaking through stories is so powerful and will amplify your impact. Number 4, and this is really powerful. This is probably very dense to talk about. And some of you watching this, maybe you're not at this point where you're able to really resonate with this, but I'm still going to share it because it's very valuable. Improve your range of expression. Okay, this is a big one. So you know how you've got a vocal range? A vocal range is like how high and low your voice can go in terms of pitch and frequency. Singers have this great vocal range, good singers, where they can go very high and very low. You can also have a range of expression. A range of expression basically means, are you able to emote and show emotion? What is your range of expression like? Now, I deal with a lot of guys who don't have a good range of expression. They're kind of stuck in this plane of like, haha, if they're laughing and something's feeling great, they're like, yeah, that's really cool. Or if something's not so great, they're like, it's a bit rough, right? The range of expression is not very wide. It's not very drawn out. Whereas my range of expression, if I'm talking to women and she says something impressive, I'm like, fuck. Oh, I love you. You're amazing. Oh, you're great, right? That's one range of expression. Or I could say, I'm so disappointed in you. How dare you, little girl, right? That's one. I'm joking around, of course, having a good time. But I have a wider range of expression. If a girl says something interesting, maybe I'll walk away for a second. I'll be like, are you serious right now? Okay, so here's the story. So when I was young, right, it's this range of expression where I'm constantly giving feedback verbally to the woman. That's good feedback, bad feedback. I'm pulling away. I'm moving towards her. And I have this range of expression. Now, you don't need to be extroverted to do this. You don't need to go out of your way to talk to more people to do this. You can have a range of expression, but it does require you getting outside of your own head and being willing to share of yourself and to expand the way that you share information. So let's say that you have a story that's interesting to you, something about a skill that you learned or something about a girl that you dated from a certain city, right? That's an example of a story that may have some value. It shares information about who you are as a person, where she's like, this guy has value to some extent. The better you get at sharing stories, the more value she will believe you have. And if you do have value, it matches the value you actually do have. So when I share stories, or when you share stories and you're introverted, what you want to do is not be locked into this plane, this very limited fixture of information or this limited fixture of expression. You want to be able to express widely, right? You want to be able to open up how you share information and be able to express it with the flair and the the intensity of someone who is not trapped or locked in their head. That's the problem with a lot of introverts that I work with. It's not that they're introverted, it's that they think being introverted is the problem. And because they think being introverted is a problem, they lock themselves in their head, okay? So what I want you to do here is expand. If you're an introvert or if you have introverted tendencies, I want you to understand that you being introverted is not a problem. It's not a weakness. It's not something that's going to hold you back. In fact, you can grow and you can thrive as someone who has introverted tendencies, someone who believes they're an introvert. You can thrive and you can grow and attract women because there are strengths within being an introvert, okay? Be blessed today. I hope you learned from this. If you did learn from it, press the subscribe button, or if you'd like to find out how you can work with me, there's a few links below that will take you to some ways that we can get in touch. You can watch some trainings I've got and you can learn more from me if you click one of the links down below. It's pretty self-explanatory in the description. Be blessed. Have an amazing day, and I will see you on our next training.